G'day colleagues in AGSPS. Great to meet so many of you this week at your face-to-face. Thanks for having me over. Now, as promised, here's a brief video that steps you through the key things to look out for when producing your 2017-30 subject outlines in the new template. Just before we do, a quick reminder about where to go to for help. The easiest place I reckon is the Learning and Teaching Wiki. That's bjbs-share.csu.edu.au. Type into the search function subject outlines and you're taken to a page which contains links to key resources, some of which I showed you at the face-to-face. Key ones are the subject overview template. That's this two-page Word document which outlines the nature of each section of the template, whether it's mandatory, whether it's auto text, whether it's editable, etc. And the other one that I pointed out was the subject outline preparation guidelines, which provides some guidance on what you should be including in each section. Alrighty, let's have a look at an AGSPS subject outline. Ian Manick has kindly allowed me to use a draft of his EMG 2017-30 subject outline, so thanks Ian. I've compared it to a prior session template for the same subject. Important thing to mention again is that the aim has been to get rid of a lot of the guff and get students to their assessment items quicker. And just as importantly, information from prior sessions will clone across, so there's no need to reinvent the wheel, but there's a few things to look out for. First one to look out for is that the academic bio, photo, details of other teaching staff are no longer in the subject outline template. If they weren't already, they should now be in the Interact 2 site. Next is the textbook. Now, in addition to the prescribed text, I noticed that a lot of AGSPS subject outline templates use the spaces that you used to have for required reading and resources and recommended reading and resources. The new template, as you can see, just has space for a prescribed text. Now, it is editable in here, so you could whack all of your required and recommended readings up in here, but I think that'd look a little bit suboptimal, so I'm recommending that you place those details again up in your Interact 2 site. Next one takes us down to the subject delivery section, and there's a new subsection called recommended student time commitment. Now, all this that you see here is auto text, and if you read that sentence, if you left it like that, it wouldn't make sense. So there is an expectation that some sort of breakdown of hours is added after the auto text, and we'll just jump to the subject outline preparation guidelines for that, just to give you an idea of what we're talking about. I pointed this out at the face-to-face, but here's just an example of the sorts of things that you could put in. Ultimately, it needs to, on a 12-week session, add up to roughly around 140 to 160 hours. But the point is, and I'll just jump back to the subject outline, the key thing you got to remember is it adds up to those 140, 160 hours across a 12-week session, and that it's plausible for your subject. So, for example, if you're teaching a face-to-face cohort, don't put stuff in about online meetings. Okay, the last two ones to point out are down in a section called Student Feedback and Learning Analytics. And here's a new subsection which is mandatory now for everyone, changes and actions based on previous student feedback. So because it's mandatory, if you delete the text that's been dropped in there, it's just going to have a heading with no text under it, which looks a bit ordinary. So there should be a description of how student feedback, say in the subject evaluation survey from previous sessions, has been accommodated in the current offering. So if you go to your subject outline preparation guidelines again, and you click on that section, Student Feedback and Learning Analytics, it's got some suggestions about some of the things you might want to talk about in this particular section. In my opinion, a little bit clunky, so here's something I prepared earlier. Obviously I can't edit in subject outline, so this might be something along the lines of this that you might consider doing. Just cut straight to the chase in terms of the actual change you've made based on feedback. And finally, just below it, there's a section called Learning Analytics in this subject. Again, there's some auto text that's been dropped in, but below here, there's some editable auto text. Now, if you leave it as is, that looks pretty silly. And I'm saying, unless you've got something solid to say about the changes you've made but based on those past learning analytics, I recommend that you delete that whole sentence before submission. Alrighty, that's it. Hopefully that was useful. Any questions or comments, please let me know. Thanks very much.